Hereditary is an evil film and it creates such a real sense of dread that I feel the utmost respect for it. It fills this void that few directors or producers are willing to, which is one of the many reasons I'm a huge fan of Ari Aster. There are typical rules and tropes and cliches to horror films, and it feels like most horror films either follow those rules or subvert them. Hereditary follows its own demonic path. It caters to zero influences of the typical horror film. You think it's dark on the surface, and then as the film goes along, each layer gets more and more sinister, and instead of there being a resolve of hope or the opposite, or some complex form of irony or justice at the end, there's just a radioactive core that is what has been drawing you in the entire film. It is a strange statement on the complexity of an evil that supersedes what is supposed to be the strongest form of love and loyalty, perceived family values we think exist innately. There's no way this grandmother is so evil that she would orchestrate the ritualistic sacrifice of her entire offspring after she was dead in order to summon Payman the demon to inhabit their body like a flesh suit for a demonic virus that uses a brain and neurons as a vessel, right? Hereditary uses the sentiments of family and desecrates any perceived sense of love that could exist by default, then burns alive the paternal instincts we assume exist in everyone, and finally it defiles the semblances of hope or resolve or irony that typical audiences insist on within film. It is each character's commonality, their relation to this absolutely evil naked granny that will also be their destruction. Annie's inherent, almost insistent trust in her mother before and after her mother's death is what will eventually kill her, and that is evil in itself, but the most vile part of this film is the final destination aspect to it, the inevitability of each character's demise from the very beginning that is orchestrated by this group that is trying to summon payment. It is this family's destiny to be sacrifices. It's a foregone conclusion that was planned long before the character's birth and will exist long after the grandmother's death, especially after the grandmother's death. The complexity in this, though, is incredible. The devil is in the details. The group puts the deer in the road to make the kid swerve into the pole, but how could they predict that he would be driving erratically because Charlie was going into prophylactic shock? That is just their horrible fate. It is also revealed that a few years prior to the events the audience is witnessing, Annie had covered them all in gasoline to keep them from the darker evil that was waiting for them, like she was picking up on the evil that was stalking them and willing to do anything to get away from it. Is it fate, or is it this group that is orchestrating the demon's return, or both? The film's ending tells us that there is no difference. Whether an evil like payment exists because of a supernatural demonic ritual that is ancient, thousands of years in the making, and this family becomes the victim of that, or the demon's resurrection is the group's evil plan that they finally carried out. Either way, it spells the absolute destruction of any perceived hope or goodness we think might exist in this film's world. Whether fate itself creates this evil or there are groups of people willing to do heinous things to fulfill their demonic desires, a demon is created nonetheless. From the very beginning, there is nothing this family could do to escape their tragic fate of being props to some demonic entity, like the little pieces and parts of Annie's models, whether that evil has been there all along like an ancient force, or it's brand new.